It's Earth Day, Takoma Park. Are you ready? Welcome to the 2015 Takoma Park Earth Day Festival. The TPSS Co-op, Old Takoma Business Association, and Fifth Estate Communications are making sure that you're ready to celebrate all the green solutions available to you. Over 50 local vendors will help us highlight solar power, composting, home energy and building efficiency, eco-clothing, products, and much more. We're going to have a lot of fun today, but we're also going to learn a lot too. So stick around. I'm here with Shireen Ibrahim. She is the sustainability intern for the city of Takoma Park. So as I was walking around, I stopped at the sustainability table. I picked up a few pamphlets and flyers and booklets, and I have to say I was a little bit overwhelmed. So I'm hoping maybe you can break it down for me.
Yeah.
Now the first one I picked up was the Neighborhood Energy Challenge. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, well, the city is having a one-year competition for a $2,000 prize, and the neighborhood that has the highest participation rate with the greatest energy use reduction wins the $2,000. And the way you participate is doing little things like turning off your lights when you're not home, unplugging your appliances, lowering your thermostats when you're not home, things like that. And you can register online if you're not here at the fair already, or for sure, me or the other intern, Bryant Martinez, will be knocking at your door soon.
So how can you determine who uses the most or the least, or are there like levels? How does it work?
Yeah, well, there's different levels of participation. There's light green, medium green, and dark green. And the light green entails small steps that you can take, just like I mentioned, turning off your light when you're not home and lowering your thermostat when you're not home. Medium green and dark green entails more intensive changes to your homes, like maybe getting all of your appliances Energy Star, or the dark green entails more intensive things, so maybe you need to get a solar panel.
I also noticed the Georgetown University Energy Prize competition.
Yeah, so that competition is a 2-year competition. The city is competing against 50 other cities for a $5 million grant for sustainability projects. So as efforts towards that, that's why we have the Neighborhood Energy Challenge, to get the neighborhood engaged in energy efficiency.
And then we also talked really briefly about the Takoma Park Food Waste Collection Program. Could you tell us more about that too?
Yeah, so if you come out today, we can register you for the compost waste collection. All you would have to do is scan your iPhone and you're registered. And if you can't come out today, you can register online, and the city collects your garbage for free and turns it into compost.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And Safe Grow Act of 2013?
Yeah. So as of 2013, the city is trying to prohibit the use of pesticides. So as of right now, businesses are not allowed to use pesticides. And starting in the summer, residents will be fined if they use pesticides in their yards.
And last but certainly not least, I noticed you have a, can I call it a contraption, very fancy looking doodad? Could you tell us about that too?
Of course. So this is an energy meter, and what this does, it measures the amount of electricity that your appliance uses and converts it to the amount of money that you spend while you plug it in for a year. Residents can check this out for free for 2 weeks from the library. Yeah.
All right. Well, it was a lot of information, but it was all worth our while. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you.
Good to see you again, Shelby.
Good to see you too.
So this is the second year of the festival, 2015.
Yes.
Thanks for having it again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our pleasure. Second year with us partnering with the co-op, the Old Takoma Business Association, to throw Takoma Park's Earth Day Festival.
How's that been going? How's that partnership been working for you guys?
It's been great. We've really been able to build out the festival. We've had more interest than ever this year from vendors, sponsors, and we've even been able to pull in some expanded children's activities to really engage the kids in the Earth Day. atmosphere and the Earth Day celebration.
So that was probably one of the main things you wanted to focus on, is that as far as the kids you just mentioned, making sure that they had a better idea or maybe a clearer idea of what living green is?
Absolutely. Takoma Park is a hugely green neighborhood as it is. And we really wanted to make sure that we open this up for the kids to be able to learn what's out there and what it means to live in a green neighborhood and a green community.
Yeah. So for all the kids and families and parents who weren't able to make it here today to the festival, how can they actually learn more about the festival and the activities and the vendors who are here?
Yeah, all of our information is up on the Old Takoma Business Association's website at mainstreettacoma.org. They can learn about Earth Day from this year and last year, and they can also see what other things are coming up in the Takoma Park area to join in.
So this being the second one, it's fair to say you got a good momentum going. You think you can tell us anything about what next year might be about?
Hopefully we'll be able to expand even more next year, and we had a lot of return this year of vendors wanting to participate again, which was really great. And so hopefully we're building some really strong relationships with the community and the businesses and organizations here, and we hope to continue that for next year too.
That's great. Well, happy Earth Day.
Thanks. Happy Earth Day to you.
Introducing a breakthrough in time management technology. A whole new day of the week. It's called Someday. Ingenious. Perhaps someday you are going to go skydiving. Enter a hot dog eating contest. Maybe ride a mechanical bull. Now it's on the calendar. You may want to retire someday. Ready for that? You'll really want this. A My Social Security account at socialsecurity.gov. You can estimate your future benefits, plan for your retirement, and how to save for it. If you already receive benefits, you can manage them online. Millions of people already have a My Social Security account. In fact, someone opens one about every 6 seconds. Get yours today, because someday is here at socialsecurity.gov.
I just stopped by the very colorful and very active Young Activist Club. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
And I'm speaking with Anna and Anna Grace. Now, I don't know anything about the Young Activist Club. What do you guys do?
Well, we have for about 6 years have been working on getting these trays out of our schools.
Okay. What are those trays?
These are styrofoam or polystyrene lunch trays, and yeah, we've been using them in the schools for a long time. And the problem with them is that they're not recyclable and they're not compostable or anything. So the only good way you can dispose of them is by burning them in an incinerator. Except these, they're full of chemicals, and when you burn these, it's not good for our air and it's not good for the environment. So we've been campaigning for a long time to get rid of these and replace them with something better. So after 6 years, we've finally gotten cardboard trays in our cafeterias instead of these, which is great.
So you had a success.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, all right. So what are you all working on now?
Right now, a lot of the cardboard trays cannot be recycled because they have food waste on them, and so a lot of them actually still get burned.
So does that mean that whenever a tray has any type of food waste or a stain or anything like that, it cannot be recycled?
Not be recycled. It could get the food on other paper, and it's just, I guess the recycling plant doesn't want it. So we're trying to get a compost for the paperboard trays in the schools, so that we could dispose of them all properly.
And so how does the compost work? How does that work? Do you guys know where it will be, or
So Brenda, who helps run our club, I think she's over there actually. She's a licensed compost expert and she knows a lot about it. And so we're still doing research into where we'd put the compost and how big and stuff, but Brenda certainly knows a lot about that.
There are a lot of folks who weren't able to make it here today to speak to you in person. How can they figure out what they can do to help you, or how can they get more information about all the work you guys are doing?
We have a website, youngactivistclub.org, and so that has a lot of our information.
If you really want to help make a difference, just not using styrofoam, not using polystyrene, and basically using recyclable and compostable products when you can makes a huge impact on the planet, and it's great. So if that's something you want to do, yeah.
Okay. Good luck, girls, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. As I was walking around, I noticed sort of the best way I can describe it, it felt like a campsite. Felt like I noticed the dirt, I noticed the plants, I noticed everything happening on, the kids in the background there. I stopped in to see what was going on, and then I met Leslie and Bill. How are you guys today?
Hi.
Fine. How
Hi,
are
everyone.
All right, so you guys are the Nature Lab?
We're the
Yeah.
Nature Lab.
Can you tell us more about what the Nature Lab is?
Sure. We are above Ace Hardware in Takoma Park down the street here on Carroll Ave, and we have a growing natural science collection, and we run art and science and getting outside programs around that.
How long have you all been in existence?
We've had our spot on Carroll Ave for about 2 years now.
And so, as far as science programs go, first thing that comes to mind is school children science programs. So, are the programs geared for school-age children, or are they for everyone?
We do have programs for children. We've got some summer programs coming up that are going to be a lot of fun. And we do have some after-school programs as well. We have weekend programs for adults and teens and children. And we're working on growing more. We believe in getting your hands dirty, obviously. We've got lots of soil and sand out here, so get your hands dirty, make things, look at things.
We take a lot of science and art and a lot of outdoor activities. We fuse it together and we get into some incredible fun and wonderful products that we kind of put together. Our students, we love to call them labbies, so from the labs, that we put together just incredible events and pieces of artwork and installations, and we learn from each other how to critique each other positively, and everyone comes back with a really great feeling about themselves and about science and art.
So anyone who loves nature, anyone who loves to get outdoors, anyone who loves camping, anyone who loves
Art.
Okay,
Yeah.
because
Art.
there's a big art aspect to
A
it
big
as well.
art aspect.
We have quite a collection of
Natural science objects.
science objects that we draw by
Skulls.
hand. We teach fine art to a lot of older students who come in who want to deepen their portfolios. So we're here, and we love being in Takoma Park. So
We use a lot of
Check
art
us
to
out.
explore.
And you made mention to the summer programs. So for anyone who's interested in being a part of the summer programs, how can they reach you?
Well, we have our website, thenaturelabsite.com. We also have a Facebook page for The Nature Lab, and I think we've got the email, which is just lab-up@thenaturelabsite.com, and we'll get back to you. Plenty of
right.
information online.
Thanks a lot, guys, and happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day,
Thank you,
everyone.
Keely.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Still going around the festival, and I happen to stop by the Compost Crew, and I'm here with Ryan Brenner of the Compost Crew. And Ryan, I was hoping you could educate me a little bit as to what composting is, because I really have no clue. Could you tell me how it works, how you get started?
So composting is a way that you can recycle your food waste. And so basically what you do is you set aside all the food that would be going to a landfill, and instead what composting does is takes it, sets it aside, and allows it to break down, and it turns into soil again. And the soil is really nutrient rich, and so you're able to grow produce better. So it's like instead of adding fertilizer, you can use compost, and it's a much more nutrient rich. And so basically what that does is it kind of closes the cycle from the food you eat to the soil that it's grown in. So rather than diverting it and sending it to a landfill where it just breaks down there and isn't usable, you're putting it back into the soil so it grows back into food again.
And so for somebody that is new to composting, how could they start? Where would they be able to start? Is there an easy place to start?
Yeah. So we actually work really well with people who don't know how to compost. We're a compost pickup service. So what we do is you get one of these bins here, and we come by every week to pick up your compostable material, and we do it for you. And so basically what you do is you have one of these bins. It's a screw top lid here. It's airtight so it doesn't smell, doesn't attract animals. And you put all your compostable material. It's your vegetable scraps, fruits. We can also take meat, dairy, grains, bones, paper products, and that all goes in here. We come by every week, pick it up, take the bag, clean the inside, put it in a new bag, and we compost it off-site. And so we turn it into soil here, which is really great for gardens. And so this is a service that the City of Takoma Park provides. So if you go on to compostcrew.com, you can sign up for free. We deliver a bin to you and then come by every week and start taking your compost.
Okay, I was just going to ask you for those interested. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time, Ryan.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Introducing a new day of the week. Someday. Now, everything you were going to do someday is on the calendar. Want to retire someday? You'll really want this. A My Social Security account at socialsecurity.gov. You can estimate your future benefits and manage current benefits online. Millions of people have a My Social Security account. Get yours today, because someday is here at socialsecurity.gov.
Hi again, everyone. I am coming to you now live from the, can I say headquarters? Is that?
You can call
I
it
can
that.
say
Yeah.
the headquarters of Tin Lizzie. That's a bit of a tongue twister for me. Tin Lizzie. And I'm speaking to Laura Layton.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Now, a few minutes ago, we were talking about eco-clothing, and you were explaining to me what eco-clothing is. Now I'm just going to ask you again, what is eco-clothing?
So all of the clothing that Tin Lizzie carries is fair trade or ethically sourced, which means that I buy from organizations that work directly with artisans in impoverished countries. A lot of my stuff is from India, Nepal, Uganda, Guatemala. And fair trade basically is a business partnership, and it ensures that artisans are paid a living wage for their goods. And by living wage, that means that all of their basic necessities are taken care of, like food, water, shelter, but also that they have enough money to send their children to school and reinvest in their communities. So it's more about a partnership and not saying, I need this many boxes of this item by this date and this is what I'm going to pay you for. It's more about making sure that both parties benefit from the transaction.
And what got you involved in eco-clothing or fair trade?
I went to school for fashion merchandising, and I kind of learned the ugly side of the industry and fast fashion, and we may be getting cheap goods from certain stores, but while we're benefiting from that, other people are losing out. And so I wanted to start my own boutique that made sure that no one was on the receiving end of that ugly industry. So I ensure that everything is fair trade. I mostly buy from Fair Trade Federation members, which is an organization that unites fair traders. So I know it's a reliable source for fair trade goods and people doing good things for the world.
And so I hate to put you on the spot, but if you had any advice for anyone who may not be designing from this, let's say a student or a new designer who's kind of taking more of the traditional model, and they may have some hesitation about making the switch to eco-clothing, do you have any advice for them as to?
I would just say to educate themselves kind of about the movement and what people are doing. But I found that people who are working for fair trade and sustainable businesses that are doing good things want to share that with others. So I think that fair traders and sustainable businesses in general just have a great community around them, and they're open to sharing. And if someone is new, I suggest interning or volunteering for a sustainable organization to just kind of get their foot in the door, and that's what I did.
All right, thank you. And how long have you been in business?
I've been in business for exactly a year.
What?
Yeah.
So this is like an anniversary.
Tomorrow, yes.
What?
Yeah,
Well,
this
congratulations.
Week. Thank you very
Congratulations.
much.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Right. What does Earth Day mean to you? Does it have a I guess, long-reaching effect, or is it something that you're new to?
Well, Earth Day means this to me. It means that as a community in the country, we take a moment and we celebrate the earth, right? We look at what are the good things and the bad things that are happening in our environment.
Things we can fix and improve.
Right, things that we can improve. For example, I'm going to bring legislation to council to ban plastic bags in the city. I believe that if Trader Joe's can do it, if Whole Foods can do it, why can't Aldi's do it? So that's just one of the things that, I believe that is important on a day like today, Earth Day, to make sure that our residents, people in the region, know that it's important to celebrate this place that we call home, Earth.
Have you had a chance to get around to all the vendors? I know there are a lot of vendors here, and I was told that they're actually the most of any Earth Day.
Right, and I did notice that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all the vendors,
Okay,
but I have walked around. This is always a great opportunity to see residents and talk to your constituents, so that's what I usually use today to do.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to hold you up because I've seen how many people tried to get to speak to you, but I appreciate
Thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
All right,
Thanks.
take care.
Grandma, she's here! Grandma!
Okay, I'm ready. Hi, I'm Jackie. I'm here to pick up Mrs. Johnson.
Hey, Mrs. Wells, she's ready.
Mrs. Wells, thanks for coming. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you called the Village of Takoma Park. Okay, let's go.
The Volunteer Ride Program is one of the services offered to seniors who cannot drive themselves and who are members of the Village of Takoma Park. The request for driving can be for doctor's visits, for shopping trips, or for social events. Regional rides are provided as long as volunteer drivers are available.
Did you know that 1 out of every 3 bites of food you eat can be attributed to a honeybee?
Yes, it can be.
Is that correct?
Yes, it can be.
Yeah? Well, I'm here with Marty Hindle of the Maryland Beekeepers Association, and I'm hoping he can explain to me a little bit more about beekeeping.
Well, I'll do my best. Thank you so much for this interview and for your interest. I'm Marty, and I'm a member of the Montgomery County Beekeepers Association. We're the county association of beekeepers, of backyard beekeepers in Montgomery County, Maryland. And I've been a beekeeper myself, a backyard kind of a hobbyist beekeeper for the last 3 years, since 2012. For me, beekeeping is just a wonderful hobby. It's a nice way to connect to the environment. And on a lucky year, which I've only had one of so far, it's an opportunity to get some honey and maybe even make a little money selling it. But I have to caution you, if you're going to go into beekeeping, don't make that be your only reason, because you could be disappointed. It's kind of tricky to actually succeed.
And I was actually going to ask you about that. There are hobby beekeepers, but there are also professional beekeepers?
Right.
Okay.
There are, we call them commercial beekeepers. Okay. They of course operate on a larger scale. They have more capital, so they're able to do it on a higher level of sophistication, and they exist in order to sell honey or sell bee products. The other big thing that that commercial beekeepers do is to sell the pollination service. So you may have seen on TV or read in the paper of beekeepers taking truckloads of bees around the United States in order to essentially rent their bees out to pollinate the crops of commercial farmlands, which, as we were talking about a little earlier, absolutely have to have the bees to pollinate. And in many cases, they do not have honeybees in their locality that it can just happen naturally. So they're willing to pay a lot of money for that service.
Okay. So as we had spoke about a little bit earlier, I know I am definitely not completely clear on the connection of the foods that I may eat, like there was broccoli, there was ice cream, there were apples.
Right.
How do we go from an apple or a stalk of broccoli, how do we go from the bee to the broccoli?
Well, that's a wonderful question, and 3 years ago I had no idea either, and I have to say I'm still learning, but in other words, I'm not an agriculturalist, but what little I've learned is that the bee is the pollinator that allows these plants to reproduce themselves. Plants, like animals and people, need to reproduce sexually, and essentially they have partners, so to speak. That's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but they have to reproduce, and the way they reproduce is by cross-pollinating, by moving the pollen from one plant or from one flower to a nearby neighboring flower. That completes the pollination process and allows that plant to propagate, to have essentially babies. That's a little not accurate, but anyway, the way that pollen moves from one plant to another, in some cases it's the wind, but in a huge number of cases it requires an insect to carry the pollen on its back, a pollinating insect. And in the case of honeybees, they will, of course, unwittingly take the pollen on their furry backs over to the next flower that they go to pollinate when they're in the process of trying to get nectar, which they're going to turn into honey.
Okay. And you said you've been doing it for how many years now?
I've been doing it for 3 years now.
How's that 3 years been for you?
Oh, I could add a lot of adjectives.
Yeah.
It's been humbling. That's one thing I can tell you.
Okay.
It's been humbling.
Okay.
I heard about this from my sister originally, who's an amateur beekeeper in Oregon, and I thought this is just the easiest way to have delicious honey whenever I want it, and that after year one, that thought was over.
Yeah.
But in addition to being humbling, it's been really amazing, because not only have I learned about how to produce honey, but I've also more broadly learned about bees and their incredible world. There's this whole society that's going on right underneath our noses in many worlds, but in particular in the honeybee world, that's extremely sophisticated and really wonderful to learn about. And then even more broadly, I'm just beginning now to learn about the environment as a whole. And you asked earlier, how does this connect to Earth Day? And how does this connect to environmentalism? And I would say one answer is, for me at least, the act of working on my hives allows me the opportunity to be out in nature and kind of working with real nature as it's happening.
You're actually connecting.
And I'm connecting. I'm not reading about it on the internet.
Yeah.
I'm not watching it on YouTube. I'm in my backyard with my suit on, touching the hive, looking at the bees, hearing them buzz, smelling the honey. And it leads me then to think more broadly, what do they need? What do they need to be healthy and to thrive? And I find that lately it's leading me into wanting to know more about botany, wanting to know more about agriculture, which I don't know much about. But you want to know, where do they go to pollinate? What are the best plants that they like to pollinate? And all of this teaches us that we live in a very complex web that's called the environment. Of course, if you tamper with one side of it, you don't actually know what the impact will be on some other piece, but it is all connected, and the bees teach us that very profoundly.